The film opens in Hawaii. It is famous for its peaceful beaches and the green forests. A young man with a passion for mountain biking was adept at taking dangerous stunts and driving the car on rough roads. On a visit to the forest, I hear strange noises and suddenly came across a man hanging upside down, warning you to run away before they find you. And then a car stopped. A notorious gangster boss comes down with Tay. Wrong, they start beating savagely. The man, his identity as a prosecutor. He has made serious allegations against Ed. If proven, these charges could land Eddie in jail, or even face the death penalty. To send a brutal message, Eddie beat the prosecutor to death with a baseball bat. Make sure no one dares to challenge him anymore. Panicked son tried to quietly escape, but the noise from the bike caught my attention. The gang, they chase and shoot at you. Son was lucky to escape. My name rushed home. I don't know what to do next. Then, son saw the news reports about the prosecutor's murder. The suspect was not identified. His fear grew when someone started breaking down the apartment door. Eddie's men have come to kill you. As a witness, son quickly escaped out through the window, just to confront a federal agent. Flynn asked him to remain calm and wait. Eddie's bad guys broke into the apartment. When they just came in, Flynn had them under control and quickly delivered the son. Before the reinforcements arrived, I didn't report the murder to the police. Son explained the city's police force was bribed and is likely working for Eddie. Flan confirmed this, introduced Teo himself, and took him to the agent's investigation headquarters. Even though Flan insisted that Son testify against Eddie, Son is still paralyzed by fear. He denied ever being in the forest. But Flan has proof. Son's fingerprints were found on a can of water. Leave it at the scene. Freen warns that refusing to cooperate only makes Son in greater danger because Eddie's gang won't stop hunting you. At the international airport, preparing for a big flight in progress, among the passengers with the famous rapper, Choi and Leroy's entourage. Surrounded by fans, please sign and take a picture. Meanwhile, the flight attendants were confused when agents began searching the plane. Free and Son get on the plane and sit in first class. Many passengers had to be relegated to economy class. Clara is tasked with handling these complaints, despite the chaos caused. At the same time, a ground officer was acting suspiciously. When loading containers onto the plane with some kind of solution. He called the newspaper that it's going to drive people crazy. First-class experience on a lipstick plane for the first time. Meet Flynn's partner, Agent Sanders. They keep in touch with colleagues at headquarters to monitor the situation. In the common compartment, tension between passengers climbing. A businessman angry because the dog barked loudly of the circuit. A happy woman taking pictures with her pet, completely unaware of the discontent around. On the other side of the plane, the shadows gradually appear as the mysterious boxes started to affect the surrounding environment. A child with his mother, Maria. Non-stop crying makes everyone around nervous. Another businessman who can't stand the noise decided to change seats. At this moment, Mr. B.A. and his entourage boarded the plane, not satisfied with the seat at first. My dad was so excited when he saw his mom become visibly happy and excited. Meanwhile, the two boys, Tommy and brother, worried about getting on a plane for your first solo trip? In the middle of that scene, Tiffany was thinking about Son. She was attracted to you at first sight and eager to find a chance to get close to you when all passengers are seated. The plane is about to take off, and the flight attendant presents important safety instructions for emergency situations. The pilot and co-pilot Rick received permission to take off. As the plane boarded, the flight attendants began serving drinks. Fanny took this opportunity to sit next to Son, curious about you. At first, she mistook him for a dangerous criminal. I soon found out I was on a plane to testify against a notorious gangster boss. Is there a truth that makes you both shocked and excited? Who knows? A big box contains venomous snakes that have been secretly put on planes. This box is set to open at a certain time. Release the deadly creatures. In another area, a boxer catches the attention of a flight attendant. He's trying to impress with his skills, but it's counterproductive. It's a joke for other passengers. Freen, while making sure everything goes smoothly, meet Clara. People who are upset and feel overwhelmed because of the passengers' complaints. Freen, I'm sorry. I hope I can soothe your 7 hopes. Meanwhile, Mr. B.A. took the opportunity to talk to the circus, who is sitting nearby. Right at this pivotal moment, the cursed barrel opened. Release the excited snakes. They quickly land throughout the plane, initially crawled away without AI noticing. In an incident, a couple sneaking into the toilet to smoke and flirt. But their fun ended abruptly, when a snake falls from the ceiling. Bite them both. Their suffocating screams no one heard. As the snakes continue to infiltrate the plane, they're moving to systems. The controller broke the conductor and caused a series of electrical failures. The alarm in the cockpit went off, warning the captain of a crisis. Rick immediately notify air traffic control of the situation and request emergency assistance. In the passenger compartment, chaos explodes. A man goes to the toilet, bitten by a snake hidden in the chair. He panicked and banged his head against the wall and was seriously injured. While the captain tries to fix the electrical system, was attacked by a giant snake and bitten in the neck. It made you unconscious. Rick didn't know about the snake attack, claiming the captain had a heart attack and rushed to support. Clara was horrified by the escalating situation. Alarm for Flynn and Sanders, who immediately went to the cockpit to assess the damage. Rick continues to inform for control. Not safe about the deteriorating condition. Ask passengers to sit still. However, when the snake crawled freely among the passengers, the horror has just begun. When I saw that scene, Rick panicked and keep attacking. The snake accidentally triggered the oxygen mask system to explode. At the same time as the masks, many other snakes came out. From the ceiling creates a horrible scene. The snakes frantically attack the passengers, bite anyone in range. With a loud scream, when everyone Chen pushed their way out. In the midst of chaos, Sanders came down to assess the situation. But he died of fear when he saw countless snakes on the stairs, paralyzed by terror. I can't move. While the snakes continued to attack endlessly, some passengers desperately fought back trying to repel turbulence due to storm surge. It makes many people lose their balance. That includes Sanders. Fell into the arms of creeping creatures. He screamed in horror as he was bitten repeatedly. Freen rushed to the rescue with a taser. Transfer electricity through the snakes. Force them to retreat. Freen quickly assesses the situation. We've seen passengers fall and get attacked all over the place, determined to save people. You move along the aisles. Electrocution of any snake, obstructing and pushing. Urge passengers to move to the front of the plane. Any bitten AI quickly collapses from the venom. In the midst of chaos, Tommy is hiding bitten by a snake. When panic ran wide, a passenger lying on the floor was fled by the crowd, trampled to death. I panicked and ran to the bathroom, but found 2 lifeless bodies already inside. Freen continues to fight the rebellion. 10 passengers collapse from the bite. You focus on gathering the survivors in front of the plane and put up a baggage barrier to stop snakes from getting in. I woke up and saw the snake approaching. In the midst of carnage, she screamed for help. Sun appeared, lift her up on your shoulder, and take her to safety in front of the plane. When the front area is protected, Flynn and the passengers block every possible entrance to stop the snake. Clara realizes that Tommy and his brother are missing and informs Cho Flynn. They searched and eventually found 2 boys hiding. But it's heartbreaking to realize that Tommy has been hurt. Meanwhile, the stewardess, Gray, hears babies crying in the area. Dangerous. In spite of the danger to her life, she rushed to save the baby. At that moment, a snake attacked. Gray, cover the child with your body and get a bite. Even if very brave. The venom was too strong, and neither Gray nor Sanders survived. Desperate to find a solution, free contact with Rick. Admittedly, they don't know how to deal with it. If you don't put the safety of the plane at risk, at an altitude of 7,000 break, the only option is to fly to the nearest airport. Takes about 2 hours. At the same time, air traffic control of the crisis. Clara looks for a doctor among the passengers, but this man is dead. There's a snake in your mouth. That leaves them without any. What medical assistance to the injured? Angry but determined, free contact with Harris, and tell Eddie must have orchestrated the release of the snake to target the sun. Even if Sun survives, Eddie was probably going to let the plane crash. Harris, order your team to find a top expert. Leroy was bitten in the ass by a snake. A flight attendant offered to suck the venom, toxic raw, to slow down the effect. Leroy refused. As soon as you realize the flight attendant is not an acquaintance, they usually serve you. Although the snake that bit Tommy had a rather weak venom, the boy's arm was still starting to swell. Maria tried to help by applying oil, sell Lou, and make a small incision to suck out Ra's venom, paralyzed by fear, and Flynn's guilt is to blame. Flynn reminded me that Eddie was the mastermind behind this whole disaster. It must be stopped at all costs. Freen insists that if Sun dies, your sacrifice will be meaningless, and their current priority is to be ready to react. When Harris called, Freen observation, I saw the snakes trying to get through the barriers, built them up and fought them off with fire extinguishers. Even improvisation uses broken bottles as weapons to destroy them. Meanwhile, Harris contacted a snake expert who was rushed out of the lab. Harris explained the situation, but Bryce, warning that the precise identification of snakes on the plane is a factor key to choosing the right antivenom serum. Hospitals only stock the common ones. Finding the others will take a long time. Bryce advised Flynn to prepare for every scenario and explain that the aggressive behavior of snakes can be stimulated by pheromone. He proposed collecting 10 and identifying snakes to take appropriate measures. At the same time, the passengers panicked, decided to overflow the first-class area. Clara couldn't control her love. They confronted Flynn. I want to know about the appearance of snakes, but Flynn warned that to survive, they must obey your orders. Sun revealed that the snakes were released because you witnessed a murder by a boss. Power criminals, it's free for everyone. Emphasized the spirit of cooperation to survive. He also ordered the collection of snakes to help doctors identify species and find antivenom serums. Rick is flying the plane. There's a snake in the cockpit. It bit him, causing Rick to stumble into the device bay. When the passengers are collecting the bodies of snakes, I suggested taking pictures of them to speed up the identification instead of just describing it in words. Clara realized something was wrong when the plane was tilting. She found Rick unconscious in the cockpit and fighting a snake with an axe. Finally killed it. When the plane crashes out of control, Flynn and Clara are able to stabilize the altitude right above the surface. Rick wakes up and activates autopilot. The passengers put up a barricade by inflating them to prevent snakes from reaching their new location. The price determines that the snakes are foreign. Extremely dangerous hybrids come from many parts of the world. That makes finding a cure incredibly complicated, and it could take days. The only known source of snakes, so diverse. It's a man living in the desert. As passengers try to stabilize themselves, the air conditioning and filtration system malfunctioned, creating a new danger. It's making it harder to breathe. Free knows from Rick that the engine problems, it's making the situation worse, and someone needs to restart the system. Manual to solve. In the midst of chaos, Free to meet you be in a state of panic and anger at the lack of air. Free tried to calm him down. Understand that maintaining order is paramount. As BA holds a gun, his intentions become more and more dangerous. His friends tried to advise him, while Flynn tries to stop Liu Tang. Flynn eventually disarms and subdues him. But it gets worse when the power is cut off. This incident led to Gray's tragic death, made Clara, I am devastated and feel that my death is near. Freen is determined to help her steady comfort Clara. Say you can't, you are alone and need your support. Break, go down to manually restore the air conditioning system. When he opened the door, he encountered the snakes, but he fought back. Went through a narrow aisle full of wires. You get to the control panel, dispel more snakes, and successfully restore the power as well as air circulation. On the way back, Flynn was surrounded by snakes. Although temporarily overwhelmed, you can kill one just before it can bite you. Meanwhile, Harris, to get to the snake camp in the desert and confront the owner, mentally unstable. Both sides fired and Harris shot and wounded him. The owner fell into a snake enclosure, broke it, and was bitten by a snake. In the last moments of life, he revealed the location of the antidote and provide important information about all snakes. To be on the plane, he also confirmed that Eddie funded and provided these snakes, through which confirmed Eddie was the one behind the attack. Flynn and the passengers breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that hope is not dead. However, when Flynn tried to contact Rick, he found Rick dead and the cockpit overflowing with snakes. Free, quickly seal off this area to prevent dangerous wildland. There's no AI to control the plane. They found Choi had over 2,000 hours experience with flying simulator games. Free order everyone to fasten their seatbelts, then proceeded to clean the cockpit by shooting through the window. It causes a pressure drop, suddenly sucking all the snakes out of the plane. When the cockpit is safe, Choi takes over control. I'm excited to be flying a real airplane for the first time. The pressure drop caused a gap in the passenger compartment to widen, forced Clara and Tiffany. You have to hold on tight so you don't get sucked out. The remaining snakes were also blown away, and Choi stabilizes the plane down to high pressure, back to normal. Choi contacted air traffic control, but they were initially alarmed by the situation and doubt your ability. When you know the experience, Choi just came from simulation games. The more they worry and offered to transfer control to a the professional. Frayne defends Choi, claiming he is their only hope. Under extreme pressure, Choi is still in control. Although the initial low-altitude phase quite urgent, he adjusted in time and landed the plane safely. The sound of sewing echoed as police and paramedics fast forward to supporting the survivors. 5 medical teams identified the snake that bit the shrimp. Lashes and injections saved the boy's life. When I was about to leave the plane, a snake suddenly appeared and rushed towards him. Free reflexes instantly shoot down the snake and save the lipstick. The lucky man didn't get hurt by the protective vest. The crisis is closed. Flynn and Son are now friends. Exchange of information. Get in touch with the women they like. Together they headed to the beach, ready to enjoy the moments. Surfing and relaxation deserved. After all that I've been through,